Despite the Meteorological Services Department prediction of normal to above normal rainfall, chances of dry spells in between, like the current one, have not been ruled out. How will farmers best deal with such situations? And is the sector safe? To answer some of the questions, we are joined by Agricultural and Rural Development Authority Chairperson Yvonne Craig. Good evening, Yvonne. Thank you for joining us here on News Plus. What is the situation on the ground with the dry spell at hand?
Yeah, let me begin by commenting that, Met Department gave a focus of a short dry spell of about 7 to 10 days, which is normal within a season because we don't expect rains to fall continuously. We need to have breaks. So the situation at the moment, you find that, of course, with the experience of where we're coming from, farmers are beginning to panic, thinking that the rains have disappeared. No, the rains will come back as per Met Department's focus. But if you look at it, you find when the rains come back, at least the situation will have improved in terms of development of the crops, because the crops also require sunlight. They require the dry spell so that at least they develop deeper and stronger rooting system, so that at least our crops can stand firmly on the ground.
So, Craig, are the germinated seeds at risk if the dry spell continues?
Yeah, I'd say most of the crops have managed to germinate and have emerged, and just very few were yet to germinate. So the crop which has germinated, one good thing with a crop or a plant is that it doesn't just die. It takes time before it gives you signs, because you find as the dry spell prolongs, you find the crop firstly goes at a temporary wilting point, and then it can survive for a week in that state, and then you find after a week the crop can now go to permanent wilting point. So we are not yet at that situation. You find the situation we are at the moment is our crops, they are still looking good even during the day. When they get to temporary wilting point, you find that during the afternoon they sort of wilt, and then in the evening they're continuously looking wilty. But where you're finding a crop in the morning is looking good, afternoon good, evening good, it means the crop is still under very safe condition. And then even when you go to the extent of crops looking wilting a bit in the afternoon, you find that in the evening they are looking good up to morning.
All right, so Craig, apologies, we might need to interject the conversation right now because we have James Ngoma joining the conversation. Good evening, James. Thank you for joining us on News Plus as well. Could you tell us if we're expecting any rains anytime soon?
Thank you very much for that question. In terms of the conditions that are prevailing, as we already gave an advisory on the 28th of November, we're expecting that it should be dry from the last Saturday until the 11th of December. We were expecting mostly sunny conditions, and that should lead to increased heat as compared to when there was cloud. But as of now, we're expecting the next few days the temperatures to slowly rise by about 1 degree across most areas, so it shouldn't be a significant change. For instance, in Harare, where it was 33, today we're expecting it to be 34. Over in Bulawayo, where it was 35, we're expecting it to reach 36. A few areas in the Zambezi valleys which were in the 40s, such as Kariba, which was at 41, as well as the southern parts in the Limpopo Valley areas, such as Shirezi and Beitbridge, which were at 42, expected to reach 43, but nothing significant is projected over those areas. As we get into Sunday, we're expecting a cooling southeasterly to emanate from the south. This should cool down most of those areas where temperatures are expected to drop by about 3 degrees to about 4 degrees in some areas. So we're expecting just a slight rise, then a decrease as we get into Sunday. So it's cooler conditions that we are projecting as we get into Sunday, but for much of this week it's more of the normal conditions that are currently prevailing with sunny conditions.
Konapo Konapo, Ipapo Ipapo, by ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.